Yeah, we might have over here. I got till Friday to get them. Yeah, it should be just those two. They're kind of tricky to get to. They're like in here and walk around together and walk up to the.
All right, we'll go ahead and come back out of closed session, a convenient open session. Tom, do you have any announcements from closed session?
Thank you. The City Council met in closed session with respect to the one item on the closed session agenda, and there is no reportable action.
Very good. We'll go ahead and go into our regular 6:30 session. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Moore? Here. Councilman Nigg?
Here.
Councilman Walker?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Swanson?
Here.
Mayor Benoit?
Here. All right. With that, Tim, would you lead us in the flags?
That's it.
And for everyone knows, the flags have moved up here, so.
Right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, that's good. No one has to salute Matt anymore, so. We don't have to salute you. Well, the flags were over there. We always have to
yes.
Never mind. Thought that would be a good one. All right. With that, we'll go into presentations. Our understanding is that Donald Graham couldn't be here tonight, so we won't be doing that. But we do have a presentation for Sergeant, and I'm going to butcher this. Huh? Ceballos and
Yes.
Sue Reed of the Special Olympics for Southern California. Are they here?
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think Sue is here. Unfortunately, Sergeant Ceballos wasn't able to attend today.
Bridget, do you want to help present these since they're a group that you're familiar with and working with?
Come on up, Sue, and bring all the athletes. So in Wildemar, we had, it was called Cop on a Rooftop. Now, I'm not sure if our officers went onto the rooftop. No, okay. And the idea came from a different state, and they were copying it over to here. So our Dunkin' Donuts here in Wildemar held the event, and so I got to meet Sue Reed that day and Sergeant Ceballos. And no, he was able to come tonight. Yeah, but wanted to invite them down to say thank you for all you did. And then Sue said, could you bring some of the athletes? And we said, sure, that was to benefit for Special Olympics. So we're gonna let Sue speak.
I'm actually gonna let one of our athletes, Christopher Delgado, speak about our programs.
Perfect.
Thank you, City of Wildemar Mayor Mr. Bennett, Mayor Pro Tem Mrs. Swanson, and council members. Your support of our Special Olympics and raised $1,100 Cop on the Rooftop Group Dunkin' Donuts fundraiser means the world to us. We are looking forward to the City of Wildemar for future fundraisers and support of our Special Olympics Franklin Valley program. My name is Christopher Delgado, and I'm 23 years old, and I have been involved in Special Olympics as an athlete for 3 years. I participate in golf, basketball, and bowling. Tonight, I am here with 6 of my fellow Special Olympics athletes that are hearing impaired: Jamal, Jeffrey, Brett, Oni, Derek, Ken, and they are amazing athletes. The sports they participate in are basketball, basketball, and bowling, and softball. Five of them attended SOC ball games for softball, and I participated in golf. Special Olympics is for children and adults with intellectual disabilities. It is a year-round sports training and competition program and it is free to all athletes. Special Olympics Temecula Valley offers 10 over the 12 different sports offered in Special Olympics Southern California. The sports they offer in the fall are golf, soccer, softball, tennis, and cheerleading. The sports they offer in the spring are basketball, volleyball, flag football, swimming, and track and field. Summer is a bowling sport. It has been fun learning different sports, traveling to competition, making new friends, and being a part of a team. We love hearing all the people cheering for us when we compete. All of our family, teammates, and coaches are always really proud of us, even if we do not do well. Upcoming fundraiser events: Plunge Big Bear March 2nd, Torch around Wilson Creek Winery May 19th. Before I finish, I would like to share with you the Special Olympics athletes. Oh, let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt.
Awesome. Thank you. We look forward to, endeavors in the future with you.
Yes, definitely. Some park events and, yeah, we definitely want to partner with you.
And actually, years ago, about 5 years ago, we actually had our softball practices out here at Marty O'Brien
Yeah, okay.
Park.
That's right, I
But
remember that.
there was a transition there where the fields weren't being upkept, the lights, and it was going back from a private to the city. And
It's a very, it's back, yeah.
that's when I hear that
Yeah.
it's
Come on
back and it's a beautiful park again.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay, great.
You guys want to get a group photo? Or?
Yeah, and you? Tony? Oh, wonderful. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
One, two, three. Beautiful.
All right,
Now the professional.
all right, ready? One more. All right, smile. Thank you.
One more.
Very good. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Miles, or we can all attend.
Actually, I'm going in the office tomorrow, okay, so we can get it. Okay. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
I did go down and attend, and it was really awesome to see all of the athletes out there. They were working really hard, but it was inspiring to see the officers that were there. They're there on their own time. They're not being paid to be there. I don't know how they got to bring the cars, but they did. At least there were a few. They said that they would like Waldemar to participate next year, so a thought to keep in mind. But the event was here, and it was really, really nice. They did a good job.
I attended too, and it started, well, it started in the morning really early, which was good for me, so that was something I could attend, so I was glad I was over there. It was still dark.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we'll go into public comments. I have Monty Garner, followed by Kenneth Mays.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. This is part of my therapy. Well, the City of Wildemar's second major tax increase, Measure AA, has passed. It joins the city's first tax increase, Community Facilities District 2013, or 2013, I'm not sure how it's correctly pronounced. I do not count Measure Z, since the Parks tax just replaced the legally deficient county version of the same tax. I find it ironic that I would not be here tonight voicing these comments if the following promises put out prior to the ill-fated vote for Wildemar's cityhood by the Wildemar Incorporation Now Committee had actually proven true. Wildemar will achieve long-term fiscal stability with no new taxes. Incorporation will give Wildemar the opportunity to improve safety without the need for new taxes. Cityhood provides additional public improvements without raising taxes. All proven untrue. Those of us who had our eyes open in the beginning, including, encouragingly, Councilman-elect Joseph Morbido, knew these statements were bogus as they were first being uttered. I know the collective advice is, just get over it. We are here now. However, each new tax opens an old wound. I find voicing these comments cathartic. Thank you.
Looks like the city manager wins once again, as live streaming appears to be a thing of the past. And the citizens continue to be left in the dark about how the city operates, in the dark. I hope the latest round of wildfires drives home the necessity of following all the requirements of building in a very high fire hazard severity zone. The areas surrounding Malibu, Calabasas, and the town of Paradise was much like Wildemar in that it is an area of very high fire hazard severity zone and also an area of local responsibility. Many homes are lost because of the poor planning, the lack of water, as well as infrastructure due to their remote locations. Many lives were lost because of the lack of communication with its citizens. Why does the city have no contract for the directional signs, also known as a kiosk program, despite the council, in a 4-to-1 vote, having authorized the city manager to sign one in May of 2009? A recent public records request turns up no contract with the kiosk program, despite Riverside County Building Industry Association claiming on their website that Wildemar is a participant and a partner. The city needs signs showing the way to the library, which that contract would have provided for. I would also like to say, bye, Mr. Walker. Some of us will not miss you, and Wildemar is set to become a better place, I hope.
All right, with that, that's all of our public comments. We have council communications. Bridget?
I think Jeanette, also do we have the RTA video too? If not, we can show it next time.
Yeah, I'm trying to switch over the.
Okay.
Is this of our ribbon cutting?
No, they did a bus rodeo, so I got to drive one of the buses.
Oh, boy. That wasn't you over there at the Shell station or by...
No.
Run it over the curb.
But it's not just a me driving, it's just a promotional video that the RTA did, but also there were some pictures. Maybe start.
Yeah, Justin, you have some any other council communications or?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. So this is the previous month I voted. We did trunk or treat, that was a good event. Really, really good turnout. I participated in the Wildemar Community Cleanup. Got rid of 3 gigantic truckloads of stuff and had a meeting/discussion about Bunny Canyon.
Marcia?
Well, then I get to be the first one that talks about the new bus stop.
Sure.
Thought that would be Bridget. We did have a ribbon cutting last night, but more important, that bus stop is on the corner of Palomar and Central, where it's always been dirt, no shade, not a tree in sight, and every day I would see people sitting in the dirt or standing in the dirt waiting for a bus to get where they need to go. And now we've got a beautiful bus stop there that's covered. I think it even lights at night with solar. So it's a great improvement. Sidewalk, it's handicap accessible, and looks beautiful. Really an improvement.
Okay, the pictures. the pictures are ready. We'll do the video next time. So I attended the Trauma Intervention Program event, and this is something that the city does pay into. This is probably the most well-attended dinner I've ever been to. They actually, switch, never mind. That was at the event I volunteered with Keith over at Sierra Nara Nelson High School. So went to this Grand Terrace, invited the cities to nominate one veteran, and so we nominated Justin Hunt. So his name, it spells out freedom, so that's the O, and so Justin Hunt's name is on there. So I attended on Sunday with Councilman-elect Joseph Morbido, our teen queen, my sister, and the Justin Hunt family. And that was, we drove, that bus was actually Omnitrans, so we took that picture to show RTA. So that was the ribbon cutting yesterday that Marcia was mentioning, and Sublingual Melendez sent, I believe Josh was his name, over for the recognition, so that was nice. And this was Justin Hunt. This was certificate they handed out to the family. And then that was us at the Trunk or Treat, which was probably about 2,000 attendees. It was the biggest attendees event we've ever had. We really can't grow larger with attendees probably, but we can with trunks. We had 39 this year. I'd like to get 50 or 60 trunks, and they really need to bring 1,500 pieces of candy because again they ran out and there were so many people. The lines were so long. Yeah. So this was, I decided coming home from RTA, the accident on Bendy Canyon, and had my cert bag in my car, had a dress on and heels, threw on my vest, and that's David Good from the farm, and we directed traffic out in the middle of Bendy. That is us standing in the middle of Bendy Canyon Road for about 2 hours. My feet killed. I need to put tennis shoes in my car.
That should be part of the Go Kit.
Yeah, well I had those, long story, but I need to put tennis shoes again. And flashlights.
Yes.
This is actually a new park, Balaga, so we will have the ribbon cutting soon. I went over there with Daniel to see the new park. This is Malaga and Mission Trail. And that was this morning. Wildemar's to the right, about 5:50 in the morning from the lookout. So it's just a beautiful picture. I'm going to submit it for the calendar contest.
That's Elsinore.
You're Wildemar to the right. Put a big arrow.
I heard that photo was going public.
Well, yeah, someone asked me if they could use it. I said, just give me credit.
Okay, a few years back I attended the library, and one of the problems they were discussing that night was the RTA. And the RTA was trying to wipe out the loop that went around to the senior center. And they didn't know who I was. I was kind of sitting in the back and just incognito. I don't wear a shirt that says my city name or anything on it. So I just thought I'd just sit and listen. And then I made some comments to him at the end, being that I was a city councilman, and I don't see the necessity of getting rid of a loop for the people, because they were actually riding their wheelchairs, their electric wheelchairs and things, down to Baxter and Palomar, and standing in the dirt to get picked up. So I said, why don't you guys fix that and put a nice place over there? So it's taken all these years to get that, but they did maintain the loop after someone just happened to be there, and that just happened to be me that night. And since that happened, they did keep the loop, and I was excited to see the brand new RTA bus stop. I saw them digging all the dirt, and I'm thinking, are they really going to fix something here? I mean, this is amazing, and it came out really nice. I've seen it every day because I live right on that street. So that was one of the things. Went to the RCA this last month. I still have one more month that I have to go to that before Joseph steps in and I step out. So I get to go and save some more fuzzy bunnies. We got a lot of land this last time. We bought a lot of land from the Anheuser-Busch Foundation. They sold us another 900 acres or something. It was some crazy amount, and we're in negotiation with that. Looks like that's going to go through. There's a lot of land out there in French Valley Airport that we are now getting for the Conservation Authority for Riverside County. So I do sit on that board amongst other boards. Let's see, what else was there? There was a few other things. Dad died during this time, so that was that's why I missed the trunk or treat. It was a crappy day. So anyway, with that, the election's over. All my kids and my wife and everybody voted for Joseph. How can I tell you? I don't even know what to say. I was kind of bummed that they would do that to me. I'm just kidding. I don't know if they did or not. Anyway, I want to come and welcome the newest council member because he'll be coming in December and I step out. So I do have something for you. It's not a bomb. The sheriff's looking at me. For running a good campaign and walking all those doors and making people like him. He's been liked around here for a long time anyway, so it wasn't anything new. I remember when Joseph called me back in May and said, hey, I'm going to run against you. I said, awesome, run. We were excited. My wife was excited. We were all excited. Because then it's a possibility I wouldn't run and then it would, I would lose and we'd be on our way. Because we have our own company, so we're very busy all the time. And so I've missed a lot of things because my company has been growing, so there's been a good thing. So hey, God makes it that way and God wills it. So this is for you. It's chocolate. You're going to need it. I found that the city always supplied me with plenty of chocolate. The lady over here always has the good things, and I ate a lot of chocolate when I was on this board, as you can tell.
He was as skinny as Joseph when he started.
Yeah, it was. So congratulations, sir. Good job. Good run. And you're going to have fun. I appreciate it. Thank you. No problem, man.
Hey, buddy. I'm not sure if we've put it up on the website yet, but we are going to have a special meeting, right, Gary, for swearing in? What's the date for the special meeting? December
10th. It's December 8th in this very room.
Okay. And you'll need to be there for that, and you can do.
Oh man, I thought this was it.
Sorry, buddy.
Dang you.
Were you all done, Bridget? You got your last one up there? So the first photo I have up here, I got to attend the Temecula Valley Economic Summit. Yeah, it's coming up. I got to sit at the table with Congressman Ken Calvert, along with a lot of Edison folks, and we got to hear from Calvert and a few others what they thought was going to happen. It was interesting. It was Calvert and quite a few others in the room were just convinced that Proposition 6 was going to pass. And it changed quite a bit. So anyhow, that was an interesting part of that meeting. This is Hassan on the right. Hassan is has been the president of SCAG for the last, I think it was 14, 15 years, and he is leaving SCAG and moving down to San Diego. So the San Diego Association of Governments has gained a very well-knowledge person for regional government, and so he'll be moving down there. And we're still in the process of figuring out who's going to replace him. He had an understudy there, but we're not sure, and so we're actually going to do a quick search, and if it turns out the understudy is the right guy, he's the right guy. So we're looking forward to a little bit of change there at SCAG. I also attended one of the meetings over in Elsinore for the update on the Holy Fire. And then basically the big issue there, of course, is the flooding. This was going over all the maps, and the county has done a great job. Pendleton, thank you. All the hard work they've done over there to keep our residents in Elsinore safe, not our residents, but our neighbors. But it does impact us. Elsinore High School is one of the evacuation centers, and so if we do have a serious impact, especially if some of the schools get closed down, your kids here in Wildomar will be affected by this, as they'll have to move kids out of the schools over there in Elsinore to the schools here in Wildomar or up the Temescal Valley way. So there's a lot of movement happening, but potentially we could see a high school being closed, a middle school, an elementary school. So probably the worst threat though is Rice Canyon Elementary, but also my wife's school up in the Temescal Valley area is threatened as well, just because the road's getting in and out of there. But so it's definitely a high concern for our neighbors, and we need to obviously be aware of it. And so I'm over there attending those meetings as well when I can. And there's a picture for our bus stop. So grab that real quick to throw that there. So that's our bus stop, and you can see the fresh cement there, right there between our legs. That's all recently laid by RTA, and I thank them profusely for doing that. I told them we take every bit of sidewalk we can get. So thank you, Richard, for working on it. Yeah, Brandon Lane is the chair of RTA right now, so he came out for that as well.
Second vice chair.
Or second? No, Brandon is?
Vice chair.
Vice chair.
Yeah, vice chair.
Okay.
That was about $25,000. I asked Larry what was the cost on that. It's about $25,000.
Wow. Yeah. And it's got lights in there and everything. It's really, really nice little shelter. All right. With that, we'll move on to the consent calendar. I have a one speaker slip on the consent calendar from Monty Gardner. Marty, come on down. Hopefully this is not also part of your therapy session.
It's a little bit related, but not really.
Okay.
Good evening again. This is the 14th annexation into CFD 2013. Would someone tell me how that's pronounced? Is it 2013 or 213?
2013, I think it's the year we started that CFD.
I have a couple questions related to this agenda item. First, What was the rationale when the CFD was set up for excluding non-residential parcels from the cost of providing police and fire protection services funded by the special tax Part B, including them, while at the same time including them in infrastructure maintenance funded by special tax A? Second, were no fire or police services envisioned for non-residential parcels? The second question is rhetorical as opposed to theoretical, but I would like an answer as to why non-residential parcels are not part of special tax Part B of this CFD. I understand this tax is only collected upon occupancy, but it has been 5 years since the CFD, this annual tax, was implemented by unanimous vote of the City Council at your December 11, 2013 meeting. Actually, the vote was before Councilman Migg's tenure. It was Councilman Cashman who joined the rest of you in imposing this annual tax. Can the city share with the residents of Wildemore how much special tax B, Part B, has been raised to date? And point to the related increase of fire and police services within Wildemore directly related to this tax. Being able to answer these CFD questions, income and expenditure questions, accurately will be essential to the Measure AA Oversight Committee as they attempt to determine if the city's second major tax since incorporation is expended as advertised by the city in the lead up to last week's vote. The CFD special tax B dollars, along with this year's police and fire contract dollars in the budget, and Measure AA revenue and expenditures in the future, will all have to be jointly examined by the committee in order to provide any meaningful oversight of Measure AA revenue and expenditures. They all fit into one puka. Thank you.
All right. Staff have any answers on any of those? Or?
Absolutely. Tax B was established as the increment of what a new development would cost above what we currently are collecting in property taxes relative to single-family residences and commercial. So when the study was done at that time, it was a very small increment for single-family residences that would have to pay above and beyond what the current property tax does provide for that level of service. At that time, based on the pro forma with sales tax and the other things associated with commercial properties, there was a no impact on the general fund for those services because of that use.
All right. Any other questions on consent calendar from my colleagues? I'll look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any opposed? That item moves unopposed. All ayes. Or that, sorry, the consent calendar.
Mayor, you forgot to do the approval of the agenda as presented.
Well,
I did not forget, I just chose not to do it.
I just knew there was nothing to do now.
I move the approval of the agenda.
Second.
Second.
Any opposed? There we go. That item also moves all ayes. All right.
I like how you mix it up on purpose, that's good.
Yeah, thank you, Debbie. Okay. I know that was a very important item that probably only clerks care about, but anyway.
Did you give him some chocolate? We didn't give him any chocolate, that's why I forgot.
All right, let's get back to the meeting here. All right, first item, public hearing 2.1, the 2019-2024 HUD Consolidated Plan. Matt Bassett.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. This meeting is a public hearing. What I'd like to do is kind of go through a little bit of the process that we've had since it started back in September. The first meeting was September 19th, where staff provided the council with a briefing report on the CDB program and the process of the consolidated plan process, including the resident community needs assessment survey that was going to be starting that day. Excuse me. The briefing meeting number 2 was held a month later at the next council meeting in October, where we provided council with another progress update and additional opportunities to hear from residents about the consolidated plan process. And then on September 19th, we started about a 30-day period of the assessment survey. where EDA created a survey that we had a link from our website to their website that allowed anyone in the city to, with their zip code, to be able to put into the survey, answer the questions. And if you recall, I mentioned there was something like 40 questions in that survey. So this tonight brings us to the final meeting on the consolidated plan process. Quickly, just for recollection purposes, this process is being requested by HUD, who then asks each county and each entitlement agency in the United States to participate in this 5-year process, where it demonstrates what the community needs are for each community, which helps with future CDBG funding. So as part of the needs assessment survey, I mentioned it started on September 19th and concluded on October 22nd. There were 94 surveys that were submitted via the online portal that the EDA had. That 94 total includes 3 paper copies that were turned into me that we forwarded over to EDA. The survey included 10 primary needs categories as illustrated there. Each of those primary categories had subcategories to it. There's an entire spreadsheet in the council packet that has all of those subcategories and how many people chose which subcategory in terms of the priority needs. So the surveys were tabulated. The results revealed that the top 5 priority needs identified by our residents that did the survey included street repair, fire station, crime awareness, exterior maintenance, code enforcement. Exterior maintenance being like a home repair program, whether it's an owner repair or rental repair. And then youth services, which, as you know, 14% of our CDBG funds every year go towards public service. This is just a table that we put together. Shows the top 10 categories there. So the recommendation, tonight's meeting will conclude the consolidated plan 5-year process. As I mentioned, 94 residents took time and effort to complete the online survey, which staff believes resulted in very positive feedback. Moving forward, the information will provide excellent guidance as the city submits its annual block grant application to EDA. Therefore, staff is recommending the council adopt the attached resolution tonight, approving the survey results and adopting the top 10 categories, and then the entire packet that I have already put together, which is an exhibit in the staff report packet, will be sent off to county EDA before the December 14th deadline. That concludes my presentation.
Did I hear you correctly that only 94 people?
Online, and then 3 paper copies.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
Well, the 94 includes the 3 paper copies.
Yep.
Answered the survey questions.
Right.
Well, they did a good job. I mean, those are the things that we probably really need, so, but I'm amazed that that's all that took the time to do it.
Yep. Actually, I need to open the public hearing, and with that, take any speakers on this item. I don't have any speaker slips. Debbie, do you? No. Any speakers on this item? Going once, going twice. All right, I'll close the public hearing. Any other comments from the council? Questions? All right. And you need a vote on this resolution, right?
Move to approve
Yes, Mayor.
resolution number 2018-58.
Second.
Any opposed? That item moves all ayes. All right, on to our next public hearing. Item 2.2, the consideration of territory to be annexed. So, my script over here. All right, we're going to open up the public hearing on the consideration of the territory to be annexed in the Community Facility District 2013-1 services. Annexation number 13. Dan, will you give us the report on this item?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is a annexation number 13. This is the actual public hearing where tonight we'll be asking the council and recommending adoption of a couple of resolutions. One to have an election and to declare the results. This is a project that's right over on the corner, Clinton Keith Village. It's a commercial retail. In your document, I know this is hard, those who have a electronic tablets, page 245 of the overall big thick packet, but in the rates, methods of apportionment, Exhibit A, outlines the cost of the maintenance services that this project will in fact add above and beyond what their current property would pay for in property taxes and improvement taxes and everything else, and that's explained in that rate method of apportionment. It's about $14,719 a year of services. They're all listed out there fairly clearly. So with that, we'd be asking that we approve and adopt resolution number 218-59.
All right, with that, I'll take any testimony on this item. Any testimony or public comment on this item? I don't have any, or do I have speakers? I don't believe so. Nope, all right, with that, Debbie, we'll go, have you received any written protests on this?
No, I have not.
All right, are there any persons registered to vote in that territory or area?
No.
Have the owners of the properties in the district consented to hold a special election today following the public hearing?
Yes.
And do you agree to hold a special election immediately following this public hearing?
Yes.
Very good. All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and I heard staff's recommendation is to go ahead and have resolution 2018-59. I'll take a motion on that.
Motion.
Second.
Any opposed? So moved. That item has now been moved. Debbie, let's see. Have you received the ballots, Debbie, and where you go ahead and canvass them?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
And the ballot is marked yes.
All right, so the ballot is marked yes. And with that, I'll look for a motion on the resolution 2018-60. Go ahead and certify this.
I make a motion to approve or to certify resolution 2018-60.
Second.
Any opposed? That item moves all ayes. Very good. On to item 2.3, the fire prevention fees. Let's see, who's on this one? James, go right ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just to give a little background on this, this is our fire prevention fee proposal that we're recommending for adoption of a resolution. On February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2018, the City Council approved the addition of fire marshal services to the city's cooperative agreement with the Riverside County Fire Department, effective July 1st, 2018. The purpose of adding these services is to provide convenience and localized service for development-related projects. Currently, if a development-related project comes and it needs to have fire marshal services, the developer has to go down to Riverside, the city of Riverside, I believe it is, Riverside County Fire Office down there in order to get those services. So the purpose of adding these fees are to bring it more local so that those services can be handled here, locally here in Wildomar. To recover the cost of these added services, staff proposed the adoption of these 44 fire prevention fees, which will be effective 60 days after adoption by the City Council. As a courtesy, the Riverside County Building Industry Association, or the BIA, was sent a draft of the proposed fees on October 30th, 2018, and the notice of this public hearing was published on November 3rd, 2018, and November 8th, 2018 in the Press Enterprise. As I mentioned, there are 44 fees being presented tonight to recover 100% of the annual cost of the fire marshal services. The putting together of these fees was a collaborative effort. I want to thank Steve Swathout, I hope I said your name right, Steve, and Steve Payne, both from the Riverside County Fire Marshal Services Office. Steve Payne actually works over in Lake Elsinore, right next door to us. I want to thank Martin Haberly, our city's building official, and I want to give a special thanks and a shout out to Adam Jetts of the Finance Department. He's our administrative analyst. These 44 fees, putting them together, getting the input from the Steves and Martin and myself and Gary, he did a monumental task in putting them together, looking at handling the reviews, our comments and everything, to make them together for the presentation, and he just did an excellent job with each and every one of those. So we're very glad to have Adam with us. He's a very hard worker. So that concludes my presentation, and I'm available for any questions. And also, like I said, since the Steves are here, if there's any specific questions on particular services and stuff like that, they're available to answer those. Thank you.
Very good. All right, I'm going to open the public hearing on this, and we'll go ahead and take testimony. David from the Building Industry Association, come on down.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, and staff. My name is Dave Daslich. I am the Deputy Director of Government Affairs for the Riverside County Building Industry Association. We did receive this study. We reviewed it along with our fee consultant. After review, we do not have any technical objection to the study and the fees proposed. We wanted to thank council and staff for the partnership today. As always, we like a good, smooth process where we have notice of the fee, time to review it, comment before it's brought forward for adoption, and I think this was a good example of that, so thank you.
Very good. And our next speaker, Kenneth Mays.
Fee schedule on page 264, 271, 272 of the packet shows a fee for less than 50,000 square feet at $839, more than the fee for a greater than 50,000 square foot building, which is only $565. It's just not backwards. Every other fee costs more for the greater quantity. The larger the building, the more the cost. Why is this fee not designed on a per square foot cost rather than a set amount for less than or greater than? 1 million square feet will cost the same as a 50,000 square foot building. How is that so? This is going to be just like our parks fee or parks tax, where an apartment complex pays, with hundreds of people, pays the same amount as a single family home. Doesn't make any sense. Don't get in a hurry and approve something suggested by the building industry for the sake of convenience. Thank you.
Staff, do you have an answer for that one, or as far as the reversed?
I personally don't, but I wonder if either one of the Steves have response to that, since they're the experts on that. And it's something, if not, we can do a little more further research.
See, the Steves are conferring.
We assume it's probably
A typo?
typo.
Okay.
Yeah, it probably need to be rectified.
Very good. All right, bring up to the dais. Council, questions, comments?
Comments, yeah. This is gonna be a good thing because it's, as a business owner and when I had the school and running that, it was always a nuisance to have to go to Riverside County and do everything over there and take all of our paperwork every single time. And so I know it's gonna make it a lot easier for the people that live here to have somebody here local that we can actually use. So I'm all in favor of it.
I mean, besides the hassle, I mean, of driving all the way over there, also the speeding it up, because I know we have a lot of people waiting up for fire to come out, so.
Well, I agree, as a contractor here for many years, of having to drive over to get it signed and then finding out, well, you need to tell us how far you are from a fire hydrant, and then you gotta go back, well, who told you that? Then you gotta find the person who said, I mean, 2 or 3 times driving over there to get one signed off was a lot of work.
Yep.
So having them come to our city and be able to have our builders go right here is fabulous.
Couldn't agree more.
So if we approve this thing, they'll fix that one issue with the
Typo.
The typo?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, if you could just include that as part of the motion.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, the Steve found it.
And because there's 4 of us, we Rochambeau'd and I lost. So, in looking at our documentation, those 2 numbers got reversed. So the numbers are accurate just for the wrong square footage, so they should be the other way around.
So it's a Kenny Mays typo. Got it. He found it. Thank you, Kenny. See, somebody read that.
Well, yeah, I've got to just echo my comments to my colleagues. It's you know, if you haven't gone through the building process, when you do, it is probably the most painful part of the process when the building official tells you, yep, you're good with the city, now you gotta go talk to fire. Or in my case, at the time I was building on Oak Circle Drive with the county. And then you go to fire and they've got their whole list of stuff. And yeah, I remember having to recall, where's the fire hydrant? Who told you you had to do it that way? There was a lot of that. And to be able to do that all here or locally is gonna be a huge advantage to our residents. One of our former planning commissioners had a very tough experience trying to just add a garage onto his house because he was in a high fire zone. And the new requirements at the time were requiring fire sprinklers, and he had to drive to Riverside County 3-4 times to find out what the requirement was, and then to go back to planning here. So yeah, there's just so many efficiencies in this, so I'm so happy to see this finally moving forward. So thank you for working on this, thank you staff for getting this done, and our fire crew, guys, thank you very much. So it's just really going to be excited to see this actually in action. Also, especially out as far as our fire marshal, also with the weed abatement ordinance coming forward, everything else, that's going to be huge. So thank you for doing this, and this can help us all move forward. So with that, I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve resolution number 2018-61.
With
the typo. With the typo. With the flip. The money flip.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Who's all ayes? Now we'll go into general business items. The Wildomar Meadows SPA General Plan Initiation Proposal. And
Mayor, I need to recuse myself from this.
Okay.
Can I want you to step out now, or?
Yep. We will come find you when we're all done.
Probably. Jim's jogs around the building or somewhere. Where's the chocolate at?
All right. And sorry, Dustin, your chocolate's getting hoarded. All right, we'll go ahead and start the presentation. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor, Council members. Eric Lundy is the applicant on this pre-app part as part of our city's GPIP process. He's proposing to amend the general plan land use map as part of a proposed specific plan amendment to the farm specific plan. The formal project would require a general plan amendment, zone change, specific plan amendment, tentative track map, and environmental impact report. As not to mention community meetings and interagency coordination will be a key component of this process. This is just a preliminary review. We do not have a formal development application at this time. So this kind of shows a vicinity map of where the project is. The blue area is the current farm, and then where it says project site, that's part of the farm, pretty much the last bastion of land in the farm specific plan that was approved back in the mid-70s that has yet to be developed, and that's what this potential project would involve. So this is the existing general plan land use map. This existing land use plan yields about 1,200 units in these that project area. You can see the breakdown here of the rural mountainous, or the RM, the EDR, VLDR, low density residential, medium density residential, and open space are the current land uses that make up to 700 plus acres. As part of the GPIP process, the applicant is proposing several land use designations, primarily medium density residential and medium high density residential, and with a lot of open space conservation and recreation. So in terms of preliminary staff observations, a southern road extension along the western portion of the proposed project is critical for primary and secondary emergency vehicle access, including fire and police, not to mention potential evacuation opportunities in the event of a fire, traffic accident, or Bundy Canyon is shut down and there is no other way out of the farm. Excuse me, this would provide that. The applicant has begun discussions with the Riverside County Conservation Agency and the wildlife agencies, both state and federal. Dan and I have attended a couple of those meetings with the applicant. The design and widening of Sunset Avenue from Bundy Canyon Road will be important. Part of that Sunset Avenue borders the city of Menifee. They'll be part of that interagency coordination throughout the process. Traffic impacts from the farm, within the farm community and elsewhere will be analyzed as part of the EIR. Potential school impacts with the number of units, which the applicant initially is projected around 2,000 units. but has gone on record at the Planning Commission meeting for the GPIP last month, where that unit count will likely come down based on environmental constraints and just revisions as we go through the process. And of course, the need for a fiscal impact will be part of the specific plan and part of state requirements. Oops. I do want to mention that the GPIP was reviewed by the Planning Commission last month. We had a number of people that were in attendance at the meeting, only 3 or 4 spoke. And they provided some important feedback to the applicant and have moved this forward to the City Council for tonight's review. So you can see our action tonight. Tom has given you the proper recommendation in the final end. The applicant is here and would like to provide a PowerPoint presentation and briefing to you as well. And this concludes my presentation.
Very good. We'll go ahead and have the applicant come forward and have their presentation. As soon as we get the all-important clicker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. My name is Joel Morse, TMB Planning, 17542 East 17th Street in Tustin. Mr. Bassi covered most of the information I would like to cover, but I'm going to go through a few things, a few highlights quickly. I just want to point out that the area that's in blue is the portion of the site that is part of the project site that is within the farm right now. There is an additional 80-acre portion on that western side outside the blue boundary. That's an addition to, that's proposed addition to the specific plan, additional 80 acres. Just a close-up of that. And what I wanted to point out here is that the proposed designations are similar to what's already approved in the existing specific plan, the similar types of designations and densities. They're just mushed around a little bit differently, and there's more of one and less of another. This is the proposed, the currently preliminary proposed plan, which Mr. Bassi referenced. This is really what we're working with initially to get a feel for what that specific plan might look like if the GPIP is allowed to go forward. What's important on this particular presentation, or particular slide, is that we're talking about an increase from about 5 acres of open space to about 380 acres of open space overall within the specific plan. So essentially, we're condensing the development and leaving more open space. That's part of the reason we don't know how many units we'll end up with, because that's going to be a negotiated number at the end of the day with the RCA of how much of that land they're willing to take, how much they want, and so forth. Oops, there we go. What I'm often asked when we present these specific plan amendments is, why are you amending the specific plan? What's driving that? Well, in this case, it's really to modernize that southern portion of the specific plan area, which, again, Mr. Bassi mentioned is 44 years old. Actually, the age of TMB planning, as a matter of fact. And the goal is to provide a modernized specific plan to introduce different types of products that are currently permitted in the specific plan, a wider range of housing types than are currently permitted in the specific plan. One idea that we're working with right now is potentially including an active adult portion as a community as a part of the specific plan. The first benefit of the general plan amendment is that we're clustering the residential and creating that larger open space area. As I said earlier, it's about 46% of the site will end up being open space. Again, when we finish the negotiation with RCA, that number will fluctuate somewhat. We're also going to be constructing a lot of infrastructure in and around the farm community, bringing some water and sewer, parks and roads as well. And there will be approximately 42-acre park within the specific plan amendment area. That's within our current design, and we expect to be somewhere in that vicinity at the end of the day when we bring an actual project forward to you. And one of the most important things is that southern access, which will provide access directly through the farm, Sunset Avenue, to connect with Clinton Keith Road, connect Bundy Canyon with Clinton Keith. Now this slide here shows the advantage of that southern route, and just so you can understand this a little bit, folks in the audience, the blue line along the top of the slide is basically the current way that you would have to get down to Clinton Keith Road. I'm sure everybody knows that. You got to get on the freeway, or you got to take Baxter Road to get to the Ronald Reagan School, or take the freeway to get to the hospital or the medical center. And The construction of that southern access, which is in green, will of course shorten that significantly and of course provide that secondary emergency access and allow people to avoid the 15 freeway, and of course that's good for both people on the 15 and people off the 15. An added bonus of course is it will reduce travel time between people on the farm and Bundy Canyon Road to the commercial areas around Clinton Keith Road. One other benefit of that southern access is for fire response times as well. And we think that's an important benefit, and we're happy that the southern access is going to provide that. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions if I can. Our request today basically is that the City Council adopt or move staff's recommendation of the Planning Commission's recommendation that we move forward with the GPIP, so we can move forward with the planning process. Thank you very much.
Very good. Before council questions, we'll take our public comment. And first off, I have Kenny Mays. That's the only public comment card I have on this item. If anyone else wants to speak, please fill out a card and give it to Jeanette over there.
Once again, remember the recent fires in areas not easily accessible and without the necessary resources. This area has extremely limited access, and water putting out fires is an issue, as is a lack of a second fire station. And with only 3/4 of a mil in the DIF money, you ain't got enough to build one, no matter how much you wish it were so.
All right, any other public comments? Not seeing any. Council questions, comments?
No. It's not a question, it's I guess just comments. What I like about the project is of course the access to Clinton Keith. But it's just so many homes out there that would be tucked away that I think that's a great concern. I did like the 42-acre park, but I don't know. I'd really have concerns over 1,200 homes back there.
Okay, I like the project, number one, because of the access down to the front. I know that there was talk about a bridge going across BLM land there and everything in order to make that access. I've seen the plans before they came up and gave us that much open space. And one of the things that you're doing up there is you're getting rid of a lot of brushed areas that are high fire area. I mean, honestly, you put houses there, it's not a high fire area. You're getting rid of a lot of the brush around there, and so it actually will help some of the problems. And fire will be able to get to Clinton Keith faster from our Menifee site right there off of Murrieta Road. So I actually think it's a good project. I know the original project had some commercial aspect to it. I didn't see it on here. Hopefully that's part of that thing, that, you know, with the store or something. But yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I do like the southern exit and that availability to Clinton Keith, and to get in and out of there right now, there is no way. I'm concerned about the density. That's a lot of houses, even with all the open space. Seems like things are moving that way, but I'd like to see a little more.
Well, I gotta say, I like the project too, and the southern access is critical, and bringing that southern access into our city and the way you're directing it now. I remember when this project came to Planning Commission. I was on Planning Commission 8.5 years ago, and that was sort of talked about, but it was all in concept, and there was no commitment from the builder at that point. And to hear that that's part of the project, and that's where you guys are headed, I'm very excited to hear that. My only comment would be, can we connect a bike trail from the southern side to the northern side to connect up Bundy Canyon down to Clinton Keith, or as close as your project boundaries? I think that'd be a really awesome amenity someday, to have a full loop all around the city, and that'd be part of it. So I see this as a positive project moving forward, and I would hope we move you guys forward and see where this goes. You know, as far as the density, you know, you guys, that's your guys' business, it's your property, and we gotta, you know, work with you as best we can. And I like the fact that we're clustering. I like the fact that we're leaving a lot of open space. That's gonna be an important part of that area. And just, we'll see where that part goes.
One other comment. Sure. The other thing I did like about it is you had multiple types of homes in there. Harvesting down in Murrieta and Temecula is a really awesome place because they have the senior areas right smack in the middle, and then the smaller houses right around it, more of a New York style homes that are really nice with the front porches and stuff. So that will be a nice addition to this. And if everybody thought about it, we're going to grow to 56,000 or whatever our build out is. At least we're spreading it out. We're not making it all in one area. And I think that was one of the areas left that we could actually use that was already pretty much proposed from the farm at one time. And I've been here a long, long time when the farm first got going too. So with that, that's all I had.
All right, I'll take a motion.
I will move that the applicant may initiate the process of the proposed general plan amendment if the applicant so chooses, but the applicant should be fully aware of the concerns expressed by the council tonight and planning commission. Take those to heart.
All right.
That's my,
I get a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. And I'll get Dustin back in here.
How we do?
It's coming right next to your house. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, on to the next item, 3.2, the Holiday Lights Home Decorating Contest. Who's taking this, Jeanette? All right.
Good evening, Council. Tonight, staff is bringing forward a request for approval of the annual Holiday Lights Home Decorating Contest. This is an opportunity to recognize the efforts of the community who have decorated their homes for the holidays. Like last year, we will have two categories, the Clark Griswold and traditional. Should Council approve the contest, entries will be accepted through Thursday, December 6th at 5 p.m. with recognition and awarding of the contest to take place at the December 12th Council meeting. With that, staff recommends that the City Council approve the contest for 2008 and appoint 2 council members to judge the contest.
Oh boy.
I've already done it before.
I'll do it again.
But?
I did it last year, now I want to bring the kids this time.
Okay.
So it was actually pretty fun.
Anyone else volunteering?
I like it.
Huh?
I'll do it.
You'll do it? Marcia do it? All right, Marcia.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll propose that Marcia and Dustin take this up then.
Perfect.
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, there you go. All right, that brings us to the end. City Manager report. Gary?
Thank you. Just a few comments this evening. The City Hall facility will be closed for Thanksgiving on November 22nd and 23rd, next Thursday and Friday. So City Hall doors will be closed. We will be having a special meeting on December 10th at 6:30 in December 10th in this room for the swearing in of the new council in the transitioning process. And I'd like to say congratulations to Marcia Swanson and Ben Benoit and Joseph Morabito. Welcome you to the next year's activities. So that will take place on the 10th of December at 6:30.
Not until after you say goodbye to Tim.
Well, that's always going to be a sad goodbye. Yes. We will miss Tim, but that will be on a week from, that'll be on that Monday. And then we are having along with that, we will be looking at measures for Measure AA, which was approved by almost 58% of the vote as of tonight. Questions about Measure AA, when does that start? Just a brief timeline. We've been working with the state on this and the other cities based on their experiences. April 1st would be the soonest effective date for this to go into play. Funding to the city would be around June, by the time we actually got proceeds from that April 1st date. We're probably looking at next year's budget process to start rolling out those additional services. Okay. It was a busy day on that election day. Debbie, you have a few comments about that?
We did have a precinct here in the middle room, and we have a new group that is doing our precinct now. They're number one, they're on top of it. They don't cause me any problems, unlike the last group. But we did have a ballot box upstairs, as you were all well aware. This is the first time they gave us a count. And we did take in 392 ballots.
Wow.
And that was mostly ahead of time. So it's a great service, and I ran into a lot of people out here in the hallways. You could tell they had something in their hand and they're looking all around, and I'd just say, follow me. So it was good. And it's nice to have the precinct here, because our own people say, oh, I never even knew where City Hall was. So they're finding City Hall for the first time. So it's good all around.
Just want to say thank you to Debbie and Les, who were here from, 5:30 that morning till 10:30 at night.
Yep.
And Jeanette and the other staff members who participated in getting ready. You just need to show up and vote, but for these guys, it's weeks of planning to get that orchestrated. So good job. Finally, a photo contest. We're having the annual calendar contest, so if you have photos that you'd like to enter into the photo contest, please go to the website, all the instructions there, or contact Jeanette Morales directly, and she'll walk you through that process. But look forward to you submitting at least 2 photos for that contest. That'd be great. Everybody send in 2 of them. So. And that concludes my report this evening. Thank you.
Very good. Any future agenda items, anyone?
Yeah, I have one. I'm just kidding.
Hey, throw it up.
Oh, it was the Walker, Texas Ranger statue.
Tim, I've heard you say this more than a few times. Denied.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, anything else, anyone? All right, with that, I'll adjourn the city council meeting. We'll go straight into the cemetery meeting. Debbie?